Hi guys, P. Willie here. Today I'm going to run you through the new VEXED Bottom Meat 2.0. Now we're going to show you the improvements that we've made and why we've made the improvements, and also the new triple circle assist. We've done a full circle bait assist, and we're just going to show you how to rig up a few different baits. People have been asking for more videos on bait rigging demonstrations, so we're going to show you how to rig a squid, an octopus leg, an Australian herring or a Tommy Rough if you're from the east, and another secret bait that you'll be very excited to see and probably use. So firstly, what I'm going to show you is the improvements we've made on the 2.0. We've incorporated a circle on the top. Now obviously circles are good for not just hooking fish but keeping fish on. Once a fish is hooked on a circle, it's less likely for that fish to actually dislodge the hook. So once you're on, you are on. The other advantage of a circle is they do make it easier to release fish, but saying that, you've got these two buggers behind, which is probably going to make the fish a little bit sore. But if you are into releasing fish, I can show you that full circle assist as well. Now we've also put a UV glow skirt over the front. Now this is not just to attract fish to the bait, it's also to streamline the descent of the bait. Now the whole idea of bottom meat, well, it's got a lot of, I suppose, positive points, but one of them is you can actually drop a 300 gram bottom meat rig on a PE2 outfit, which you can't do with a sinker and 2 droppers in deeper water. It's just not easy to do on a light outfit. So by streamlining the bait, that's why we use bait cotton to whip the bait into a cone or a more streamlined shape. You stick that skirt over the front and the bottom meat will glide to the bottom a lot quicker than the dirty big flappy bait, or 2 fillet baits flapping around with a sinker on the bottom will take twice as long to get to the bottom as this. You'll need twice as much weight and it takes longer, and you miss the lump if you're drifting in a bit of wind. So it's important that you get that bait down nice and fast and well presented, and also water pressure and current rips bait off hooks as well. So we're just going to demonstrate how to do that. Now the size range hasn't changed. We actually do a 20 as well, but I'm just going to show you the 40 here. The 40 is basically perfect for snapper in that, you know, 3 to 20 meters, depending on what pound line you're using to get that down. It's also been used as floaters out the back of the boat. So guys are bottom fishing, jigging, whatever, and they just hoik one of these out the back of the boat with a pilchard on it or a strip of bait and let it slowly sink down to the bottom. It's a really good way of catching fish that are harder to catch on your standard bottom rig in shallower water that have seen plenty of tricks. So it goes 40, 60, 80, 110, which is this guy. Then it goes 150, 200, 300, 500, 750, and there's actually a kilo one which is bigger than this as well, which is a dirty big hunk of bottom meat. Now these guys here, the deep drop guys are starting to use these on electric reels, and some guys are using them on like 35 size saltigas and torses and stuff like that, and getting them down with a thinner PE, like PE 2 and 3 in deep water, fishing for big fish, but using a thinner PE to get them down nice and fast and right onto the bommy that you're trying to hit, or the ledge. So basically the size range has pretty much got the size to suit everyone. And now that triple circle assist I was explaining before, it's nothing too different. It's just I've incorporated 1, 2, 3 circles on there. Now the way a circle works, having 3 hooks there, you probably think, well, you know, a circle's designed to sort of go in a fish's mouth, come out and hook it in the corner of the mouth. There's not 3 circles on there to massacre fish and to greatly improve your hookup rate. There's 3 on there. The same reason there's 3 hooks on the bottom here is to present a bait. So if I've got a circle there and 1 there and none in the middle, the bait tends to scrunch up and it'll twist and it'll get tangled up. By having 3 hooks in there, just like a gang with a pilly, if you gang 2 hooks together or you snell 2 hooks together, the pilly bends, okay? Okay for boat fishing, no good for beach fishing. So when you're incorporating 3 hooks, it presents the bait a hell of a lot better. And of course, yeah, 3 hooks are always gonna win. But basically these come in 11.0, which is about equivalent to, well, this is a 3.0 in the bottom meat. So an 11.0 so I suppose the overall size of the hook is about the size of a 3.0. But obviously the distance between the point and the shank is less. So 11.0, 12.0, that's your 13.0. And then there's a 14.0 in between, and that's the big boy. So that's the 15.0. So really cool for that deep water stuff. Some guys are buying these and putting them on 360 degree crane swivels and using them as a bottom rig as well. So you can do that if you're that way inclined. Now, we don't have bottom meats with a circle, triple circle on them on the shelf, but basically you use your bottom meat like that, and once this is all carved up, or it's caught enough fish, or if you want to swap it out, you just purchase this as a replacement part, okay? And then you can just simply get a pair of split ring pliers, knock that one off and put this one on. But what they're most commonly bought for, and I suppose what I've intended for these, is we make up all our baits before we go out, because there's nothing worse than rocking up, finding your spots loaded with fish, and you have to rip on a bait, and it takes 5 or 10 minutes to get a nice bait tied. So we're getting these things, taking them home, sit in front of the footy when there's footy on, and basically whip up a dozen baits or half a dozen baits, and then we cryovac them, which I'm going to show you how to do later. Once you've cryovac the bait, you just whip them out on the boat. You have the head attached to your rod and reel, okay, and you've got the split ring on, and then you just get a pair of pliers, get the frozen bait out and split ring it on, and you're straight down the bottom while your mate's still tangling himself up in bait thread. So by doing a little bit of homework, you can maximize your fishing time, and there's just less dilly-dallying around. Okay guys, we're going to run through some bait rigging now, using both the traditional bottom meat triple motor assist with the circle top and the new triple circle assist. Okay, I'm going to use these baits here, which are, I suppose, commonly baits used around Australia. We've got the northwest squid, and then we've got a mullet fillet. We have a Australian herring or a Tommy Rough, and we've got some octopus there, nice fresh local octopus, which is the key. Now there's tons of different ways of rigging them up, and there's also combo baits, which I'm a huge believer of combo baits, so I'm going to keep it fairly simple today. So I'll show you through these bait rigging techniques, and then I'm going to show you the bait, the secret bait. Okay, I'm going to whip it out at the end. Okay, so let's just start with your more traditional 2 pike hooks at the bottom and the circle at the top. Now, as I was saying before, I rig most of these without the head attached. You can do it attached, but once you get into bigger sizes, it's very, very hard to start whipping long baits with a heavy weight in your hand. And I suppose the other thing with a heavy weight is if you do drop it, you get hooks through your fingers, which is not ideal. Always rig the squid head down. Inside the squid you have that little plasticky looking feather thing. Okay, so basically what you got to do is just make an incision, not right at the top, just down here a little bit. So what you can do is you can just whip that up onto the shank of the hook. You can get it underneath that skirt like that. Okay, but we won't do that at the start because we have to start whipping it first. So just get all these legs down here, clear them out the way, and then you can do it the other way around, like, I mean, not the squid, but you can start with the bottom hook like you do a pilchard, but I mean, I find it this way just as good. As long as you get things fairly straight, so the squid's not bent, then happy days. Okay, see that's not, I suppose that's a little bit close. So what we'll do here is we'll just go down and we'll just attach that head to the rest of the bait. That hook will be nice and proud. You've got the tentacles out here like that. So get those hook points nice and proud. The circle is a bit harder to do. So that's how I want my bait to present. I generally start at the bottom. Now, you want bits to break off. So you're not gonna mummify this thing. You're not gonna whip the head into the body of the squid like some people do. What I have seen people do is whip the one of the mantles up along the rest of the bait, so it's harder for the fish to get off, but I like bits coming off. I think it's adding to the burley trail, it's adding to the stink in the water. So I'm doing this nice and slow, just so you can sort of get the best idea of what I'm doing. Now those flaps are got to come in. Those flaps present well, but having the flaps out will make the bait sink a lot slower. Try not to whip the skirt into the bait as well. I like to have that separate, so just kick it back like that. Okay, now let's get those flaps down. Flaps always get in the way, don't they? Okay. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Now go back down to the bottom there. Now to finish it off, just, you know, a bit of a half hitchy type thing there. Okay, see how that's a half hitch, a double one of those. Or you can just pull it into the bait. Yes. Okay, so you got a beautiful little squiddly diddly. Now you get this, you don't have to shove the flaps up the tube too hard, but just get it so there's a little bit of streamline happening there. See that? So when that descends, that's gonna rip down, and it's gonna look good too. The other thing is, if the fish do get all those hooks, all the bait off the hooks, like God bless them if they do, but you've also got another target there, and we want the fish to target that top hook, because ideally you want that circle in the fish. So I'll just show you, I'll lay that out just so you can get, look how beautiful that is. I mean, even a vegetarian would eat that. Now what I'm going to do now is show you how to, I should have had a rod rigged up with this on so you can sort of visualize what I'm trying to explain, but this will be rigged up on your leader. Something like this would be like PE3 and maybe 60-pound leader or something. I've got this tied up ready to go. Then get some split ring pliers. These split ring pliers might be a little bit big, but let's see how we go. Okay. So you rip this out of your cryovac bag, or you've tied it up on the boat. Ta-da, she's done. That is a beautifully rigged bait. No matter where a fish touches that, apart from these little jiggly bits at the end there, he's going to be in a whole lot of strife. So that's bait one. Okay, now we're going to do the fish bait, fillet bait. So if you're out there fishing and you catch, you know, a silver trevally or a Tommy rough, you're not going to catch a mullet unless you jag it up the backside, but any fish flesh bait is fantastic. Fish love it. A lot of people don't use it because it's a bit of fiddling around, but like a herring, that's just a beautiful bait. It's oily, it stinks, it's flashy. Once you whip a couple of sides off that, there's not many fish that'll refuse it. So fresh is best. So I rig these upside down or tail up, and the reason being is the thinner tail end is easier to whip than the fat shoulder. Always go skin in, meat out, because you want this to break down. You want it to come off a little bit. Now you're not pinning it up the top because you can't whip it. There's nothing to whip it to. So just come down a little bit like that. So you've got something to whip. This skirt will go up eventually. And now just have a look where that's going to go. So we're going to have plenty of bait hanging off here. It's up to you whether you want to keep the bait hanging or cut it short. I like a bit of bait dangling off the end. Always is a bit of a tempter for fish. See, I'll pin that in, so that's going to end up nice and straight. I can see it from here. Now the last hook, just pop that back through there. Try and keep it nice and in line. It's just like when your old man taught you how to put a pilchard on a set of gangs. It's not much different really. Okay, there you go. 3 hook points. Now you make the cigar. So the reason we go skin in is because the skin is going to hold on. Like the fish will not get mullet skin off. So no matter what happens to the bait, the mullet skin will be staying on there. So the meat is going to start to break down on the way down. The little pickers are going to start hammering it. It's going to be creating its own burley trail, a cloud of scales and stink and oil and flesh. So that's the most important part there, whipping that. And now you can go crisscross down there a little bit, and then you've got to create that cigar again. Remember, a cigar will descend quicker than a big flappy piece of cardboard. Push the hooks from the bottom just to get the hook points out. It's a little bit fiddly. Spend a bit of time on it, that's why we do them at home. But it's not so much about making it look beautiful, it's just making it work. Okay, so that cigar is starting to take shape now. Whipping down towards the bottom. That last hook, so just add a little bit of pressure with your thumb there. Got a bit of a square cigar happening here, but it'll all turn out good in the end. Okay, so that's a bit of a quickie, which will do. This will be a fine bait. A couple of half hitches. Get off. This is sticky Spider-Man goo, this stuff. Okay, all right, so that's pretty much the start of your bait. Now it's up to you what you want to do here. You can take a little bit of this out. Some guys will just leave all that flapping. Some guys will cut it short, so when the fish hit it, they have to eat the bait. I sometimes just take a bit of this out, like this. Depends on what fish you're targeting, of course. Just make it a little bit flappy like that. That way there, more juice is going to go out. It looks great in the water, and there's not many fish will refuse that either. Big Jewfish, the DHU West Aussie ones. Look at that. Streamline, big red emperor, coral trout, love this sort of stuff. Snapper, dirty big pink snapper, red snapper, whatever you call them. It's a streamline bait. Down she goes, stinking beautiful. I'll quickly attach it to the head. Nice, now stinky split ring pliers, slippery, sticky split ring pliers. Okay, so get them in there. Let's whack it on the 200 gram head. The other good thing about this, if you get out and it's windy and your boat's drifting quicker, we can swap it to a 300 head. There you go. Look at that for a beautiful bait. Okay, now we're going to do the octopus leg. Probably one of the most favoured West Australian jewfish baits. Also big pink snapper and your coral trout and red emperor, all the bottom stuff. So I'm going to tie it nice and, I'm going to keep it nice and long and tie it the first time. Now the advantage of using a bottom meat sort of rig, it's not on the dropper. So if you tied this onto a paternoster or a double dropper rig, this will tangle your rig up. You can't use it, it'll just tangle it up and you'll be in all sorts of a mess. So what we're going to do, you can actually leave the whole thing on this, and all the little small picker fish will have a crack at it, and then the big boys will take what's left over. So basically you'd want that somewhere around there. You can't stick the occy leg when it's that thick under the skirt, so we just have to work out a way of incorporating that octopus skirt. So you just make an imaginary spot where that third hook goes through. I usually go straight through the middle, I don't mess around with it because it's quite soft octopus. It's not like it's a hard bony bait or anything, so you can just go straight through the middle like that. That's two. And then the circle, this is the most important hook at the top here. The guys that have been using these new bottom meats with the circle on the top have commented on how many fish they're getting on that top hook. It's really quite handy to have. Okay, get all these legs out of the way. And then you don't have to whip occy too much because it's pretty hard to get off as it is. You just got to try and make it a little bit more presentable. Try and get that. This is, I'm gonna hit you in the face with this. Slap me. Just like that. And once you've got probably 6 to 10 turns, it's probably enough with this. Now you just got to try and figure out how you're going to cut the top of the bait, the bottom of the bait. You can either leave it whole like that with the hooks in there. I like it like that, it's really good. It takes a little bit longer to get down onto the bottom, or you can actually just take probably about that much off. You've got to leave a little bit of a A little bit of a teaser at the bottom there, I reckon. It just adds to the whole show. A bigger bait, going to catch bigger fish, and there's no way that's going to be coming off. So that's your octopus leg on the VEXED bottom meat. Nice big smelly bait. I'm going to show you how to vacuum seal the baits. Like I was saying, sitting at home preparing your baits, doing a little bit of homework, and then whacking them in your vacuum seal bag. So try and get them nice and straight. And then when you vacuum seal it, look at that, 3 baits. How's that for a combo pack? We've got the Oki leg, the mullet fillet, and the squid. Just got to make sure those hooks don't pop through. Three perfect baits ready to go. Out on the bait, on the boat, there's your head, split ring it on, straight down to the bottom while your mate's still fluffing about. Perfect. Okay guys, now the secret bait that I was telling you about. Now don't knock this before you try it. This is it here. The almighty crab stick. These don't have to be battered and deep fried, ladies and gentlemen. These are good bait. Now, you know, a lot of people reckon I'm full of it, but don't knock it until you tried it. Crab stick's made of fish anyway, so it's probably got 3 or 4 other animals in it, and who knows what sort of vegetable matter, but they really do get eaten. We've caught jewfish on them, snapper, and bulging groper love them, a member of the tuskfish family. So it's just pretty easy. You just got to get those hooks in there, like that. And then just pull that skirt out of the way a little bit. Doesn't really matter where it sits. Sort of stick it on like a pilly, a bit like that. Okay. Then get your bait thread. Just do a little bit of whipping on it. I mean, you can whip the legs on like one of my mates does, but if you see how he dresses to go out, you'd probably realise why he whips the legs in. It's not a theory behind it. It's just he's just a slob. But basically, there you go. You've got the crab stick. Those things there are just fantastic bait. Try one, okay? Not so good for casting, but good for dropping down. Give them a go. Okay guys, now that's pretty much it. This is all the gear that we showed you in rigging today. It's all available, all in stock. I hope it's been a little bit helpful to you. Get out there and get amongst them.